Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back to my subscribers. Today we're talking about a very important topic, one that makes me sincerely think that at best there is an unconscious discrimination against gold and silver stackers, especially against silver stackers, and at worst a coordinated plot to incentivize investing in paper assets like stocks, bonds, and even paper metals by applying taxes to physical metals that are not applied to other investment vehicles. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why that is and cover some points that we can take advantage of within the framework of the current system. As always, I kindly ask for you to like and to share this content if you think this message is something that other people should be hearing. And if you have a question that you want a detailed answer to, there is a new feature on my channel. You can now give me a super thanks. One person has already done it, Canadian Stacker, thank you very much. It will guarantee that you get a detailed answer to any question you ask me in the comments directly from me, and it also helps keep this channel sponsor free. So, we're talking about taxes on bullion. And as always, I am going to focus on gold and silver, but what I'm talking about also applies to other metals that I know some of you out there like to stack, including platinum. Because putting semantics aside for a second, let's look at things pragmatically. No matter what role we see metals like gold and silver playing in our overall portfolio, they are in some way an investment vehicle. You've invested your time or energy or ideas into collecting, for the most part, probably fiat currency, and we exchange that fiat currency for other things that we think will grow our wealth, or in the case of metals, maybe simply protect it. But as you can see here, where I've listed the most popular forms of investment vehicles and wealth protection, you can see that there is only one category of investment for which sales tax, also known as VAT outside of North America, that means value added tax, applies to, and that's precious metals. Now, there are some nuances, and you can read them there on the image, and I have tried to add relevant information covering the places the majority of my viewers come from. But what I really want to say here is that for many of us, when we take the decision to stack precious metals, the governments of our respective countries are immediately putting us at a disadvantage by charging us a tax that doesn't apply to any other investment vehicles like stocks, bonds, crypto, forex trading, and real estate in most cases. And why is that? Why should sales tax or value added tax apply to physical silver and gold, yet if I choose to purchase it from a London or a New York banker in paper form, it's happy days and no additional taxes apply? Well, I have some thoughts on why, but I consulted the Royal Mint to see what their take on it was, and here it is. So this is from the Royal Mint's frequently asked questions on taxes applying to bullion, and this nonsense reason will be the same one you get in the USA and other European Union countries, and it goes like this. Almost everything we buy in the UK is subject to VAT. There usually has to be a good reason for the government not to add VAT to a product, and silver and platinum are no different. Interestingly, gold used to be subject to VAT until very recently. So there is the official BS answer that you'll get, basically no matter where you live, but I will tell you what the real answer is now. And the reason is that the tax code is meant to incentivize a certain type of behavior. And for those of you who are fans of Robert Kiyosaki, as I am, you've certainly heard this before, but what I'm talking about is this. Imagine the government wants to drive a green energy agenda. I'm sure that sounds very familiar to many of you out there. So if that's what they want to do, instead of setting up laws for you to behave in a certain way or companies to make a certain type of product, what they do is they give tax advantages to purchases and to producers of green energy products. The best example I can think of is the high tax on vehicle registration in Denmark. When you buy a car in Denmark, you have to register it, and the price is 45% of the car's value. I mean, in my opinion, that's absolutely nuts, but that's what it is. But if you purchase an electric car, you get the equivalent of about $2,000 knocked off of the bill. And this image here illustrates exactly how an electric car worth $50,000 can actually end up being cheaper than an internal combustion engine car of the same value. And the reason I'm showing this example is because these types of incentives also apply to the world of investing. Now, is it that government adds these taxes because they don't want you to own precious metals? Well, I think the fact that the mints of many countries produce and sell a lot of the bullion that we as stackers consume is proof that they are pretty comfortable with regular people owning precious metals. But the taxes they apply to them clearly show us that they would rather have us save our money in a 401k split 60-40 between stocks and bonds. And the reason for that would be because it benefits their friends in the banks. We know that the politicians get a lot of money from banks, and it benefits the governments themselves who are getting money to borrow from the bond market. In addition to that, it's a great source of additional income for governments who are simply addicted to spending way more money than they actually take in. So, as much as this whole situation upsets me, and it sincerely upsets me, and I can't help but call it a discriminatory taxation policy, especially when those taxes do not apply to gold and silver in their paper forms. I mean, that fact absolutely blows my mind. That said, there are some additional considerations and even ways you can benefit from these rules in unexpected ways, and this is how. The first point on my list here is buying in places with no sales tax application. Now, this one is tricky, especially for American viewers, because some states have what is called a use tax that you have to pay on goods purchased out of state at lower sales tax rates. This is something big, especially in the state of Washington. The second point on my list is if sales taxes are really eating into you, maybe it's better to focus on no tax products. And this one especially applies to the UK viewers who are charged a whopping 20% on silver as a value-added tax, but that same 20% value-added tax does not apply to gold. So, as I mentioned, for US and UK viewers, there are products in your respective countries that do not have sales tax or VAT applied to them. For Americans, that's going to be monetized bullion and would include products like the American silver and gold eagles, and even foreign products like the Canadian maple leaf or silver and gold Britannias, which have face values in their respective currencies on them. Now, for British viewers, as I just said, sadly, that's only going to apply to gold for you, but stacking gold Britannias isn't necessarily a bad thing, and maybe it's something you should consider focusing on a little bit more, again, if those 20% VAT tax is really eating into you. The last thing on my list here to consider is getting an insurance policy for your stack. And what I mean by that is this. In places where sales taxes are applied to silver and gold bullion products, and this is especially relevant for American viewers, those products are classified as collector's items. So if you had, for example, 100 silver buffalo rounds, those are non-monetized. They are actually classified as collector's items, and as such can be insured. So those are just a few additional considerations that you should give with respect to making bullion purchases when trying to negotiate the sales tax or value added tax being applied to what it is you're purchasing. With that said, I want you to tell me in the comments what you thought about this video. Do you see these additional taxes as discriminatory like I personally see them, or do you think I am blowing this out of proportion? Additionally, what are some legal tactics that you use to take advantage of the classification and tax implications I have mentioned in this video? Please let us know in the comments. We want to learn from you too. As always, thank you all for watching. Links to my data sources in the description of the video. As always, I hope to see you all in my next video. Until then, stack responsibly. Goodbye.